Chapter 14 Genesis. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Eroch, king of Elisar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made war with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Berisha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Adamah, and Shemeber, king of Zebium, and the king of Bela, which is Zor. All these were joined together in the vale of Sedom, which is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year they came to Chedorlaomer and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth, Carinium, and the Zuimims, and Ham, and the Immis, and Shavaya, the Carathaim, and the Horites, and their Mount Seir unto El Parian, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to En Misfat, which is the Kadesh, and smote of all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwelt in Hazion Tamar. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Adamah, and the king of Sobeum, and the king of Bela, the same as Zor, and they joined battle with them in the vale of Sedom, which Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Eroch, king of Elisar, 4 kings with 5. And the vale of Sedom was full of slime pits, and the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain, and they that took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and they departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram that he brew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, and Amarat, brother of Eshcol, and brother of Anar, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brothers was taken captive, he armed his trained servants born in his own house 318, and pursued them unto Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Haba, which is on the left hand on Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shavi, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed him, and said, Blessed be Abraham of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be the Most High God, which have delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave them the tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abram, Give me the persons, and take the goods to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoelet, and that I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest say, I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men which went with me, and Nor Eschol, and the Memrir, let them take their portion. Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. And Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and one born in my house is mine here. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, and saying, This shall not be thine here, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels shall be thine here. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now towards heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, So shall they seed be. And he believed into the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. He said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of the Chaldees to give thy this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. But the birds divided he not. And then when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an honor of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and thou shalt afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterwards shall they come out with a great substance. And thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the fourth generation they shall come either again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. And it comes to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace and a burning lamp passed between those pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abraham, saying unto the seed, Have I given this land from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river of Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Kadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Emorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Chapter 16. Now Sarai, Adam's wife, bare him no children, and she had handmaid an Egyptian, who was named Hagar. And Sarai said unto Abram, Behold now, the Lord have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid, and it may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarai. And Sarai's Abram's wife took Hagar, made the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she convinced, and when she saw that she had convinced, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abram, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid into thy bosom. And when she saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. But Adam said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as I please thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain in the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarai's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarai. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shalt bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord have heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man, and in his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God sees me. For she said, Have I also here looked after him? Thou seest me. Wherefore the well was called Berleroi. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his son name, which is Hagar, bare Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram.